The battle for the AFC West starts on Thursday night football. The Chiefs versus Chargers is the premier game in this division right now to begin the year. We're going to go over it in depth, the injuries, the lineup, who you need to watch, what are the keys, our predictions, and even answering your questions live on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, friends and neighbors. We are indeed live. It is a Wednesday night because it's a Thursday night game. We're giving this to you a little bit early. We'll answer a question or two at the end of the show after we give you our predictions. We have a lot to cover in the meantime. Let's get after it. Thanks for making us your first listen, and check out the rest of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, for another show that you might enjoy. Maybe the Direct Show, maybe Locked On NFL Show, maybe Peacock and Wilson. You never know. You'll find something that you like. He's the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting. RGR Football, as well as NFL33.com.
All over the place, sir. And I'm Chris Clark, founder of Chiefs Corner. And there is a lot to talk about. Let's just jump right in and talk about injuries, because that is going to be the storyline of this game, at least to a certain extent.
Locked On, David Howe. Welcome. I love new users. Nice to see you in here. Injuries are the problem. There will be no Harrison Butker. He and his 17-piece ankle are going to take the night off. I'm still flabbergasted that he was able to, even in a one-step, plant that foot and kick off of it. So I'm actually
17-piece ankle.
Yeah, it looked like it shattered to me. It looked bad, and so I'm relieved for him to be able to just sit back and relax. It looks like it is going to be Amendola. They signed him to the practice squad. Was it the other day? Now they're going to elevate him, or did they sign him to the 53? I can't even keep track anymore. But they will have a second kicker in place. So that at least is some relief. So you're not putting that burden on Justin Reed. A lot of folks are excited about Justin Reed's ability. Yes, that's good, but still an emergency kicker thing. He is not your replacement for Harrison Butker. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think he's a replacement for Harrison Butker. And I think that you're looking at a situation where they're going to bring up Amendola. I think that that's just the way it goes. And they're going to have a kicker for this game, and they should. I don't think you want to go into this game. And this is one of the things that I actually talked about in the Locked On crossover with David Drogemeyer, was how important just a couple of points in this game could be.
It is much tighter. It is, I think, especially with downfall that we witnessed with Russ and the Broncos, like, it is a two-team race, at least here in the early going of the season. You never know what's going to happen. There are a lot of twists and turns in any NFL season, but this is it. And that's when you get that tight and you have teams with this much talent, a couple of points can swing the whole thing in either direction. And so is that a field goal? Is it an extra point? I hope it's not an extra point. I was trying not to go there, but
yep. I get it, but that's the reality. I mean, look at how an extra point completely changed the Steelers and the Bengals game week 1. I mean,
very true. Look how it didn't change the game against the Cardinals. So, like, right. you could play it both ways, but yeah,
absolutely.
Let's hope. I don't think it is going to be a 1-point swing. I don't think it's going to come down to a final kick. I do think it's going to be a 7-ish point game. We'll talk about predictions later in the week. There's additional things we need to talk about in terms of who's available, though, because McDuffie went to IR. If you missed that, I talked at length with Matt Derrick yesterday about that. That's a big blow. What it means, though, is that you don't get any respite. There's no rest for the wicked. You lose one rookie who you're very excited about. At least I'm very, very excited about Trey McDuffie and what he did week 1. Now you have to put in another rookie, because those are your next two guys, and Josh Williams and Jalen Watson, not necessarily in that order, but you're going to have a rookie, maybe a longer, taller, stronger rookie, to play Mike Williams and get that start on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, but it's a rookie. That's the problem. And if you're going to put in a guy like Josh Williams, who has a lot of length and a lot of height, that sounds like that would be a great matchup for Mike Williams. The problem is, you said it yourself during preseason, he's not quite where he needs to be yet. And that not quite where it needs to be yet could end up being a huge factor in this game if Williams goes off for 150 yards. And I'm not saying he's going to, but would not shock me considering who he's going to be going against because he's going to be the number one target.
Yeah, without Keenan Allen, who is likely out as well. I haven't seen the injury designation. Do we know that for certain here as we record?
I thought I saw he was out for sure.
Okay.
I'm double checking
So,
that as we speak. I'll double check that and I'll update.
okay. I mean, he is the linchpin. He's the Travis Kelce of the Chargers offense. So if we understand correctly that Keenan Allen is out, that's a 1-for-1. Honestly, that's probably a bigger loss for their offense than Trent McDuffie is for the Chiefs defense, because as good as Trent is, like you said, he is a rookie. He's made one start in this league. Keenan Allen is a guy that is adaptable. As far as being overrated, you guys know how I feel. I do think there are a couple of different receivers in this division that are more highly rated, or should be.
Allen is out.
Okay.
As is Donald Parham Jr., which is not a huge loss for them at tight end, but Allen is out, and J.C. Jackson is questionable, so that's interesting.
Yeah, for him to come back in limited practice a couple of days, that's definitely going to be a matchup that I think in years past I think would have more impact when it was Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and a couple other guys that maybe could do something. Now, with all the evidence that we saw in week 1, it is not that. It is spread the ball around. There are a million guys. It's not as pertinent, I think, for a single cover corner to be able to take away as much option or as much percentage of the passing game as we saw in the last couple of seasons. So that's good. No. Now, on the opposite side, there's another questionable. And Smith may be able to play, may not. I think that's a big deal than J.C. Jackson. Do you agree?
I think it's a big deal because the pass rush is going to be a problem. The Chargers pass rush is going to be a problem. If Trey Smith is not able to go, that's a big deal. I want to say really quick on J.C. Jackson. My take on that is, even if he does play, I don't think he is 100%. I don't think he is going to be his normal self because he hasn't had that playing time to get to that point. So I think you're going to see a J.C. Jackson that'll be better later in the season when they play again. But obviously, if he's available, that will help them. The big question, though, when it comes to Trey Smith is, Allegretti did okay, but this is a different defensive line than they faced in Arizona. They have a lot of playmakers on this defensive line, and that's going to be a problem if he's not able to go. So you would hope that Trey Smith is able to play, and if he can, then I think you're in a good situation.
Yeah, I agree. Like, they need to get up and go and get in gear. And I think that's easier with Trey Smith. Nothing against Allegretti. I think he came in cold. And I think if he does have to play, obviously get the reps in practice this week, I do feel like he's able to accelerate and get off the ball a little bit better. Speaking of getting off the ball and getting up and going, our newest friends at Turo are going to help you do that. Get up and go with them because it's the world's largest car sharing marketplace. It's not a rental, it's car sharing. With Turo, you can book any car you want, wherever you want, from a community of local hosts, people in the area. Browse a huge selection of vehicles for just about any occasion across the U.S., Canada, and the U.K. Book a spacious SUV, a minivan for a family road trip, a luxury car, or maybe even something speedy. You never know what's going to be available. Find that affordable economy car that will fit your budget for this trip or whatever you're doing. You can test drive a new electric vehicle or get whatever it is that you want to get your hands on by going through Turo. Their hosts can deliver the cars right to you when you need it. Every trip is backed by a liability insurance. Terms, conditions, and exclusions do apply. Ditch that boring car rental and find your drive at Turo.com. I want to find my drive, and it involves Mike Burton. And it involves Isaiah Pacheco running downhill at some Chargers. But Andy Reid is not going to make me happy 2 weeks in a row. I know that's not.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
You think I might get my wish, and this could be a run game? That's one of the keys?
No, I'm just saying you might be surprised a little bit. I think that Andy's going to run a little bit more this year than he has in the past because I think that he wants to take pressure off the passing game a little bit and give those guys some time to get chemistry between them because Mahomes is still trying to find his chemistry with MBS and Juju, although they look good pretty much on Sunday. So I do think that they could put in some more running. And if you look at the offensive line, it's built to be a running offensive line. There's a lot of power there. There's a lot of places that they can go. And if you look at last year, the Chargers defense was very susceptible to the run. So yeah, they brought in a lot of guys that should be able to help that. And yeah, that's probably going to make them better. Is it going to make them good enough to stop the Chiefs offense? If they can get both phases of that game going with the run and the pass, they're going to be tough to stop.
Well, there's key number one for me. It doesn't have to be Pacheco, although he looked very good. It doesn't have to be Clyde, although he looked great catching the ball. You got to get in there and run a little bit. I hope that it's with Mike Burton. I love what I saw out of the eye. I loved it when they put him in H, but it is beat him up a little bit because physicality is important. So that's goal number one for me. What's yours?
Goal number one for me is to keep Patrick upright. And I say that because Bosa and Mack both had good games against the Raiders. And obviously, I think that Orlando Brown is a good offensive tackle, and he's looking to try to get paid as one of the top offensive tackles in the league. This is a great opportunity for him. Khalil Mack going against our right tackle just makes me a little nervous, I'll be quite honest.
That's fair.
But then even their interior guys, that's a big question mark as to how they're going to handle. I love Creed Humphrey. I think he's done a fantastic job, but if it's not Trey Smith, there's a question when it comes to a little bit of power. I don't think Alec Grady has the same power that Smith does. And the Chargers has some big guys. So to me, it's keeping Pat healthy and, more upright than healthy. If he stays upright, he'll stay healthy. And giving him the time to throw. I said this in the crossover episode. If you can get him to where he has 3 to 3.5 seconds to throw the ball, I think you're in great shape. And I think you can easily win this game. Or I should say you can win this game. Easily may not be accurate, but I think Kansas City has the weapons to be able to spread the ball around, and with 3 to 3.5 seconds, I think you're good.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I think one of the keys is getting the ball out a little bit quicker than that. Let's be honest. They're not going to get blitzed like the Arizona Cardinals did. The Arizona Cardinals threw everything they saw last year on film, threw it right out the window and said, we're not going to do anything but what we want to do to Patrick. I'm Vance Joseph, and I know this kid. Well, look how that worked out, Vance. I think what we're going to see is probably some zone fire is my guess. 3 high, might move those zones around. I don't know that we see 2 high safeties all the time. I do think there's going to be cover 3. There is going to be some 4 and 6. And that I think is meant to slow down the deeper ball. So it's not 3.5 for me. It's getting out in 2.5 and at least pepper them a little bit. We saw that he can disperse the ball, but it's got to come out quicker, in my opinion.
And I'm good with it coming out quicker. I'm just saying if you can give him to 3 to 3.5 seconds, I think you're in a much better position. And that's a tall order against this pass rush.
True. All right. Key number 3. My second most important key is for Steve Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo must be Steve from week 1. Cut out all the fancy stuff. Cut out all the nickel drops to the high corner zones. Blitz linebackers, rotate the snot out of your defensive line, keep them fresh, and keep them on pressure. Move Herbert off of his spot. That's what it has to be. And that's not going back to your old ways. It worked week 1. Keep it up, Steve.
Yeah, and if they do that, I think they're going to be in great shape. And one of my big takeaways from the crossover was get Chris Jones going, and whatever you have to do to get Chris Jones going, get him going. And if you have to move him around on the defensive line, move him around on the defensive line, put him in a position to win. The Chargers have a great defensive line. Offensive line. I apologize. Slater is a very good tackle. They have a great center that is, was close to an All-Pro last year, and so they're going to be a tough test for this defensive line. So if you can get pressure, I think you're in a good situation there. If you look at the defense, it's keeping things in front of you. Where Kansas City really messed up last year at times was they got beat deep. And can you keep a guy like Mike Williams in front of you at all times? Can you keep DeAndre Carter, who's their new guy, in front of you at all times? Can you keep things to an easier accepted distance, like 10, 15 yards, as opposed to 20 or 30 or 40-yard plays? Or obviously the big bomb over the top that goes for 60 plus and a touchdown.
Sure. I mean, hey, that's what it all comes down to. All right, one more key, and then we'll get to actually predicting this thing. Do you have one?
I was going to let you go.
Okay, all right. So here's the interesting twist. I think everyone understands the weight of this game. That this could decide the race for the AFC West because there's going to be some gap, and
could decide the race for the AFC.
Oh yeah, well, when you put it that way, you're absolutely right. So it comes back again. I'm not trying to let the players off here, but it comes to the coaching for me. And Andy has to keep his foot down like he did last week. They need to get to 40 points. They get to 40 points. They don't let up. They keep attacking and exploiting whatever nook, cranny, or crack that they find, and they will be just fine, and they will once again own the West. I think that's more important from the coaching point of view than it is from Patrick's point of view or anybody on the field. It's got to be Andy keeping the foot down.
I agree with that. And if Andy keeps his foot down, it's not just Andy, it's also Steve. I think they have to continue to attack on defense. I think you have to continue to try to put pressure on Herbert. I understand you kind of went into prevent at times last week against Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is not Justin Herbert. And you start going into prevent too early, and it is going to cost you. You don't want to let them get back into a game. You want to attack. You want to try to get Herbert rattled as much as you possibly can. And obviously he's a fantastic quarterback, so that's going to be tough to do. You got to hit him a lot if you're going to be able to do that. But I think Kansas City has the ability to do that. When we get back, we're going to talk about predictions and getting into this game because this is, like I said on the crossover, this is a very exciting game. I'm actually going to be there. I could not wait to see this game live on Amazon Prime. I'm sure you guys will all enjoy that on Amazon Prime, but I'm going to actually be in the stadium enjoying it on Thursday night. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all of your latest football league developments, game matchups, news, and podcasts this year on BetOnline.net. BetOnline is also your continued source for your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including Major League Baseball, MMA, boxing, and yes, cricket like Ryan likes. Head to the website today or get your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts.
I got nothing. It's all confusing to me. Yeah, I mean, it's all sticky. I have no idea how cricket works. That's okay. Someone will teach me for everybody in the UK, Ireland as well. Please, somebody help me. Someone in a country that plays cricket, explain it to me. Now, folks, if you're listening to this, there is also the crossover show. Given it's a Thursday, we're giving you a couple of different things to really sink your teeth into this matchup. It's so early, it's so important. So this is obviously our bonus matchup. You have the crossover. You get the inside intel from the Chargers host that Chris gets to interrogate, and I do like putting it that way. I don't know if you have the spotlight over him or not, but hey, whatever works. So make sure you check out the other show as well, because this is only half of what we're doing for you today. We're going to start right now with how we feel that this game is going to progress. Chris, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to kind of lay out my thoughts?
Lay out your thoughts. Let's hear them.
So I think what we saw last week, and I know there was the hubbub about PFF and all that, but when you take it back, when you look at the top performing quarterbacks in this league that threw well, that scored a lot of points, you come away with mistakes from nearly everyone except for Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. The two of them that had 0 picks, had multiple touchdowns, like they were the cream of the crop last week. It comes down to, can you force one of them to make a mistake? Whoever does that, I think wins the ball game, because I think it is going to be a battle. And like I said earlier, I do think you need to approach 40 points to get it done. Unfortunately, I think the kickers are going to come into play. And so the way that I kind of formulate this is there are multiple field goals that I think are going to have to be kicked, because you got to remember, you have Bosa Mack and you have Derwin James. So there's going to be some, it's not going to be like 70% drive completion in points, or at least in touchdowns. So I do think kicking is going to be more important than we hope right now. At the end of the day, I think the Chiefs still are the better team. And if they manage themselves and they create the turnover from Herbert and don't give up the turnover from Patrick, they win this game 37-31.
Okay. Oh, man. That's what, 3 field goals in that game. Honestly, it's going to be interesting to me because this is going to be Staley's big test. Staley failed last year in Kansas City. When they played Kansas City in Kansas City, he failed last year. He cost his team the game by going for it so many times on 4th down and not kicking a field goal. So if this becomes a kicking match, the bigger question is are they going to even kick in Los Angeles? I mean, are they going to go that direction? I see this game as being kind of a shootout type game as well. I think that you're going to have 2 quarterbacks that are playing very well right now. and they have a ton of weapons. The question that is on my mind when it comes to the Chargers is how much are they going to miss Keenan Allen? How big of a loss is that for them? Yes, Kansas City is going to miss Trent McDuffie, but I can honestly sit here and tell you I think that Kansas City legitimately has 6 very good weapons and maybe 7 very good weapons through the air right now, and that's going to be hard to defend. So I think Kansas City can put up points. I agree with you. They're going to have to do it quickly. They're going to have to get the ball out quick. But I just don't see how sitting in zones is going to make things work. I think Mahomes is going to be looking at doing the dink and dunk type thing, and I'm okay with that because I think that still is something that this team can do, and I think they have the playmakers to get it done. And then you're going to be looking at probably a game that's, I'd say 34-27 Kansas City.
Wow, okay. I like that. All right, folks, what do you think? Put it in the comments. Put it in the post comments if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube or if you're listening on the audio platforms. But we have some folks here live with us. Let's take a question or two.
Do we think that Andy and crew just trust the new kicker for extra points or start going for 2 more often in tomorrow's game? I do think they trust him for extra points. If they're not going to trust him for extra points, there's no reason to bring him up. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. I will say on the flip side of that, I'm trying to remember his range is certainly not Butker's. So I wonder if you get to the 46, 47 yard try kind of thing, if you don't go for it more there on the longer field goals rather than PATs. I agree with you. I'm not worried about that.
You're right on that, and I want to say really quick, I said that wrong earlier. Kansas City won in San Diego. Kansas City lost in Kansas City last year against the Chargers, so my apologies on that. The other question that I see is how will Andy mitigate the Chargers pass rush? To me, it comes down to quick passes, the quick passing game, and figuring out what they're going to run against you. And if they're doing a bunch of cover 3, cover 4, whatever they end up doing, Andy's got schemes to be able to beat it, and Mahomes is going to know where to take the ball. So as long as they're able to keep the ball moving on a regular basis, I think they'll be in good shape. And what we saw last week, I think, shows that they have the ability to move the ball just about however they want.
Let me, those of you on video, let me move the mic away from myself for a second. Punch him in the mouth over and over and over. Punch him in the mouth. They want to give you light boxes, cram it down their face. Run the ball in the tackles. I don't care if it gets 2 yards. It does something. It beats them up. It hurts their mentality, and it slows down Bose and Mac. Just punch them in the mouth. I don't care if Trey's out there. Everyone be Trey Smith, at least, the spirit of, and punch some dude in the face. That will help this ball game. That said, I agree with you on the timing and getting things out, but it has to be an overall thing that this team, unlike years past, has to be not only aggressive in design, but aggressive in physicality and make your presence felt. That's what I think they have to do.
No, and I agree with you. I think that if they could make their presence felt on the offensive line, I think they're going to be going a long way towards winning this game against the Chargers. Looks like that's really all the questions. The other question I saw was, do we know why Watson played Sunday instead of Williams when Trent went down? I thought I saw Williams on the field too. I know I saw Watson a lot as well. I think they kind of interchanged them a bit.
I do believe they both played. My gut tells me, and I have not been able to confirm this, my gut tells me that it was because in practice, when you start to lock things down for a ball game, you generally let somebody line up on a side. And so it's not that it is one over the other. It's that the guy who probably took the reps on that side of the ball for Trent McDuffie with the 2s was Watson. That, or they liked something about the matchup. Now, I don't see that myself because I don't feel like it was that difference in physicality, which was the way that I would lean if that were the case. But it definitely goes to show you that, like, if you are the guy in there, you're the guy in there. And it was about a 2-to-1 ratio. I just checked. Joshua Williams got 12 snaps. Jalen Watson got 25. Now, again, that is due to the injury. So in the third quarter, maybe that was the plan, or the fourth quarter, I'm sorry. Maybe that was the plan all along. Both those guys were going to get reps. And so Josh just came in at the other outside like their normal plan would be if they were up that many points. And it was just that he was pressed into action because of McDuffie.
Yep. A lot of questions when it comes to the corners and how that's going to shake out. I think it's that's going to be my nervous point going into this game. So that'll be definitely something I'll be watching from my seat in the stadium, because I'll have a lot better view than most people watching on TV, just to see what the corners are doing and how they're playing them. That's a huge thing. I mean, are they going to be up in their face and trying to go after him? I mean, with rookie corners, that's a lot to ask against this Chargers offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in the end, there's a lot to be guarded there. We will be live post-game. It will not be immediate. Matt Derrick will, of course, be joining us for every post-game, just like he has the last couple of years. So we will have someone inside the building right following the pressers is when we will look to get that done. It won't be right after the ball game. If you want immediate reaction, I'll be over on RGR. You can do that. And we'll have obviously other things for you to check out through the week here on the show, as well as the Substacks, NFL33.com. Chris, is yours? I always say it wrong.
It's Chiefs Corner, Doc. It's Chiefs Corner.
Okay. Got to make sure that I don't mess that up, because, I can mess my own up, but that's how I feel. Doug, there's your answer. Thanks for checking that one out. If you guys would hit the like and the sub button right now, you can be part of Chiefs Kingdom here tonight as we get ready for Thursday Night Football. Now, there's still twists that are going to come. Something's going to surprise us. We will have that broken down for you post-game with Matt Derrick. I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited. This is a significant step, and this is one of the bigger hurdles when we looked at the first half of the schedule. This was one of the bigger hurdles. So I'm eager to have it here, and I think the Chiefs are going to roll.
Based on the way their offense played last week, I think the Chiefs roll, and I think that it's going to be a fantastic game. This is by far one of the best games Amazon could have picked to have their opening game. So, guys, I hope you, or guys and gals, I should say, I hope you all enjoy this game. Enjoy what this is going to mean. The Chiefs are going to be on national television, and this is going to be a huge game. Everybody's going to be talking about it before and after.
I think so too. Make sure that you guys hit us with a like on this video. Hit us with a sub on YouTube. Leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you want to do. Get subbed. There's a lot coming this season. This is just the very, very beginning. A ton is in store for us. Enjoy this ball game. We'll be live later in the evening, post game. Thanks for listening now, and we'll talk to you then.